We'll start with the sports betting angle. It's coming to D.C., Darren. What's it going to feel like for us?
I don't know. It depends, as it does in D.C. all the time, about the pork and the internal politics. I mean, I think there was, it was 11-2 yesterday in City Council, which would seem like it's, obviously unanimous. And then, Ted Leonsis, who has to be the most excited about this, given that he has investments with, several gambling-related investments, whether it's DraftKings or Sports Radar. He then comes out with a statement saying that he's, not happy with how the setup works, and we'll have to see how this pans out. But the way it works right now is that the D.C. lottery is essentially going to run who gets the licenses and who doesn't, and that's run by a company called Intralot. And Intralot has also expressed a desire to be an operator. So the fact that they're distributing the licenses and are also an operator, which does not exist in any of the other 8 states that so far have sports betting, that's obviously a point of contention. So how that plays out could possibly affect how soon we see this come to fruition.
So the way it works right now, if it plays out the way it's originally written, they're the only people that can have an app that you can in-game bet or make any bets.
I think the way it's going to work is they're the ones who distribute. They're the ones who decide who else can have an app and who else can do that. But they're also going to be in the business and have their own app. Right. So that's where the problem comes in. In all these other states, in Pennsylvania, right now it's not mobile, and who knows how quick mobile will come. For example, Delaware was the first to beat New Jersey, even though New Jersey did the lawsuit that unfolded this whole thing. Delaware still does not have mobile. Mississippi has mobile, but you actually have to be in a casino, which to me, I'm not that smart, but I think that defeats the purpose of mobile. And then there's Pennsylvania right now, which doesn't have mobile. So mobile might not come that quickly, but for the most part, yes, they hand out. Gotcha. All these mobile guys have to have some sort of deal with a land-based casino and whatever. But yes, there's a lot of politics.
So I didn't understand. So when I was reading the bill or the abbreviated version of it or whatever, so Cap One Arena, they have immediate approval where they can host sports gambling. They can have a sports book essentially. So can Nats Park. So can Audi Field. Is that right?
Yep.
Wow. Yep. So they're immediately involved. The learners are immediately involved. The Leonsis is immediately involved in this.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly have the capacity to do this. And when I spoke to Ted in March, which was 2 months before this all went down, he essentially said, what I dream is that you use a WizBet app and you're sitting in Capital One Arena and, you come in at 8 o'clock and you have a mimosa and you sit down and you start betting Premier League and you're sitting there and I got screens all over the place. And then, all of a sudden you got, a game at night. It's a sea in front of your eyes.
Right.
What sports books ever had that?
Do you have any idea, and this is probably an unfair question, but maybe based on the other 8 or 9 markets where they have this, the kind of revenue that they're talking about will be generated from this?
Well, I think this was based on Intralot's projections, which have been criticized because they put out unrealistic hold number, which is essentially the number that after you pay out winning bets, the casino itself holds. But it's said to be worth to D.C. about $92 million over the next 4 years.
Wow.
And that's just to D.C. So based on that, it would be a handle of almost $1 billion, about $1 billion bet over 4 years. Just for comparison's sake, New Jersey had about $1 billion bet in 5.5 months.
Yeah, I was going to say, that seems like a really low number. This is anecdotal, Darren, but I've been over to Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races, and they have a sports book there.
Yep.
And it's kicking ass because Maryland doesn't have one, Virginia doesn't have one, the one and only sports book. It's right there in West Virginia.
A lot is going to depend on who else in the neighboring states gets that. So, for example, Rhode Island expected said that more than 60% of their bettors are from Massachusetts. So a lot of the states, and D.C. in this case, is going to depend on what happens in Maryland and Virginia and other neighboring states. If there's not an option there, then what we're seeing in New York is unbelievable, which is essentially people going on a train during their lunch break at work and going over to New Jersey to the nearest stop. Then the geofencing comes in. You can bet in New Jersey. They bet on their mobile app, and then they go back to work.
Right, and that's how it'll work here, right? If you live in Maryland or something,
right,
you're not going to be able to use the app, but if you just drive over the D.C. line, you can log in at Starbucks.
So many degenerates.
And then go back to work.
Yep.
That's amazing.